What is a BMI? A BMI is basal metabolic index. We are talking about obesity, overweight. What is obesity and overweight? Let's say an individual of about 1.6 meters height and weighs about 80 kgs, his BMI being 30, it is overweight. Obese, he comes into obese category. So let's say a BMI of 19 to 23 is considered to be normal weight. A BMI of 23 to 25 is considered overweight. And 25 and above is considered obese. So if a person is pre-diabetic and is above his BMI, let's say he's overweight, we need to have a frank and honest talk with him about losing at least 5 to 10% of his body weight. 5 to 10% body weight might lead him to an ideal body weight or where he always wanted to be, but that is something that would be called a clinically meaningful weight loss, because that weight loss would actually make him prevent a full-blown diabetes. Like Dr. Jaggi has already explained us how much the influence of weight loss happens in diabetes. So we can always bring him back from pre-diabetes and prevent him from reaching that full-blown diabetes. When we talk about how we have to reach that goal of actually eating healthy and eating the right kind of diet and preventing the full-blown diabetes, we have to see what should be the right mix of macronutrients in our diet. Macronutrients being referred to as carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. On a general note, if I say 15 to 20% of the calories should come from proteins, 20 to 25% should come from fats, 55 to 65 should be coming from carbohydrates. But if you ask me what is the right kind of diet for diabetes, it is very, very personalized. Every person has different goals. Like Dr. Rana just mentioned, that every person would have different comorbidities attached to diabetes. So we need to really take care of what the person is going through, what are goals like. If weight loss was his goal, is he actually reaching the weight loss goal? Is he actually how his blood sugars are looking like throughout the day? So the diet should be very, very personalized. So there is nothing called as a one-size-fits-all approach. If on a general note you ask me, it should be a low sodium, high fiber, low fat diet. Low sodium, 2300 mg. It's kind of 1 teaspoon a day. That should be the maximum sodium. So we should avoid that table salt we already, Dr. Jaggi just saw in that slide that she showed. So a major component of a diet should be carbohydrates. When we talk about the major component being carbohydrates, we are talking about 55 to 60% of our diet being carbohydrates. So we have to see what is the amount of carbohydrates we eat, how it's spaced throughout the day, how should we put it in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and where it's coming from. The source of carbohydrates is very important. So if you're not going too overboard, having the right amount, spacing the carbohydrates in your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the snacking, and actually getting it from the right source of food, then that's something we call the perfect situation, right? But your blood sugar levels are not only the impression of what you ate last. So it could be your stress, it could be medical condition, it could be any other related issue, like you've not slept for the last 3 days or whatever the reason be. Let us see the carbohydrate content in foods, which is like breads, pastas, chapatis. All these things, the grains have carbohydrates. Majorly, the starches, which we would like you to avoid, are the potatoes, peas, and corns. So these are the starchy vegetables. And we want you to have a lot of fiber in the form of green leafy vegetables. So green leafy vegetables like palak, like we say the pudina, dhania, and all these the high fiber vegetables basically. Remember, fiber is carbohydrate. It should be considered the major component of your diet, because fiber is directly related to diabetes. It's very important in diabetes. More the fiber, it would be delaying the transit time of your food consumed. So it would delay the absorption of carbohydrates in your bloodstream, hence reducing the levels of your blood sugars, and hence leading to a less demand of insulin. Foods like meat, fish, poultry, eggs don't have carbohydrates, so there's no carbohydrates in them, and especially water. So when you increase your fiber intake, you should not just, increase it overnight. You'll end up constipating yourself. So we increase it very, very slowly, and of course, remember to add a lot of water in it. Water is the only thing which is 0 calories, so you can have as much as you want. I would not give any recommendations for that, though. There's another method of meal planning in diabetes, which is called the glycemic index. When we talk about glycemic index, it's basically the extent of the rise in blood sugar levels in response to the food that you've eaten. So it's kind of a scale. It's a rating system, which is 0 to 100. If you see the high glycemic index foods, when we consume, it gives you a rise in blood sugar levels very fast, and it would run out of your system very quickly. So your blood sugar would spike up like this and would come out like that. If you actually consume low GI foods, which are actually generally the high fiber foods when we say, then they would rise, or they would spike up your blood sugar very slowly and would come out very slowly. So what I mean to say is 100 grams of potatoes would react differently as compared to 100 grams of oils in your food, right? What to choose over what is here. So these are the foods that we eat on a general note, on a day-to-day basis. When we talk about glycemic index foods, we have to choose some good options and avoid few which are mentioned here. So we can just refer to such glycemic index tables on a day-to-day basis and manage our sugars well, and of course leading to a better glycemic control. So another method. Now we've seen the quality of carbohydrates, we have seen the amount of carbohydrates. We need to know how we have to space them throughout the day. So about 15 grams of carbohydrates, when we are talking about one chapati, we are talking about one slice of bread, maybe we are talking about another small idli, or one piece of dhokla, or let's say a medium-sized fruit. So when we are talking about spacing it throughout the day, we are saying that 15 grams of carbohydrates are spaced throughout the day in your snackings and your major meals. I'll just show that to you in a proper diet plan though. But it should be very, very specific as per the person's requirements. I cannot just generally say that, okay, we'll have 30 grams in the lunch and 30 grams in the dinner and 15 in the evening. We need to space it as per the person's requirement and of course his daily routine. If he's going to office, if she's a housewife, or if he's an older individual, accordingly. Sorry, I think I missed that. Okay, so this is a table that shows you which choices to make and which to avoid. Of course, we want you to avoid the juices which would again spike up your blood sugars because they would have no fiber. We would want you to have the whole fruits and vegetables and let's say replace your white rice with the brown rice, and of course your white breads with the whole grain breads. I'm not saying that diabetic individuals should have this food. I'm just trying to say that we should avoid those and choose these options over those ones. So enough carbohydrates. We've had a nice dose of 55 to 60%. So let's move to some fats. Fats is again present in the diet visibly and invisibly. So we don't even realize that everything has fats actually. All our pulses, grains, breads, and invisibly we are getting it from them. Visibly, this is the oil that we are actually putting in our food. So every gram of oil or fat, be it olive oil, ghee, whatever it be, people come to my clinic and say, okay, I'm having olive oil. So, I'm not consuming as much fat as I should. But they don't understand that oil is oil. So is sugar, whether it's brown sugar, whether it's white sugar. Same is oil. Every gram of oil will give us 9 calories. And every gram of proteins and carbs would give us about 4 calories. We need to make healthy choices, which we need to have heart-healthy oils in the form of omega-3 or olive oils, and avoid the saturated fats, which are the ghee, butter, and vanaspati. But then what to do when guests come over? Like Dr. Jaggi said, we always end up choosing our samosas and okay, let's just order it quickly, whatever is possible. I think we can choose better options like paneer tikka. Maybe we can choose options like the kebabs or some grilled options at home. We can readily prepare them, or you can, just mix some roasted snacks at home only, like the sprouted salad she mentioned, or maybe just some puffed rice, quickly roasted and made a bhel puri out of it. But the home bhel puri, I'm not talking about the Haldiram bhel puri, that would have, again, the fried bhujiyas and everything in that, right? So those are some options that we should consider while guests are at home, or when we are choosing our snacks or evening snacks accordingly. Protein requirement, again, every gram of protein, if you're talking about recommendations, we are giving 1 gram per kg body weight. But then, because diabetes comes with so many comorbidities and so many related problems, that we cannot just say that, okay, you should have 1 gram of protein on a daily basis as per your kg body weight. This is not something that we can just say generally. It should be considered, or talk to your doctor. You should take the recommendations, which should be personalized as per your medical history. And of course, what your doctor recommends, then you can get your diet planned accordingly by your dietitian. These are few options that, of course, you should choose over the other ones. Moving to the Dadima's Nuskhas. We have so many, we have a doctor in every home. So Dadima tells us, okay, we should, mix this with some water. We should make that powder out of it. This is very good. That is very good. But what is actually good? The other day, my uncle told me, something, I'm having Pili Chameli, and that has reversed my diabetes. I no longer have diabetes. But he doesn't get himself checked just because he wants to stay ignorant. Right? So that's not something that we should actually do. There are certain foods which have been proven scientifically, and they have scientific importance as far as reducing our blood sugar levels or reducing the cholesterol levels, which we see that, like methi seeds. Like, I tell my clients to just soak it over the night and have the water in the morning, and maybe, just add them in your rotis, add the seeds in your rotis or breads or whatever. But these things have been proven, like the methi seeds I said, or you can just have a powder in the morning. Oats, again, have a lot of importance because they have a lot of soluble fiber, and we've got enough variety of oats. Please do avoid the packed ones, though, which are ready to cook. They don't have enough fiber as compared to the normal white oats. Then we talk about the soy proteins. Soy proteins are the 100% protein for a vegetarian. That's the only bioavailable 100% protein. Coming to flax seeds, that has the best omega-3 fatty acids. Amongst all other oils, this has the best profile as considered as a heart-healthy oil, or heart-healthy flax seeds. And then the psyllium fiber is a bulk-forming laxative, and it is very helpful for people with diabetes who have certain bowel issues. The best source, I would say, is Isabgol, that is readily present or available in the market. So here comes my diet plan. When we talk about the guidelines that I've been showing you or I've been telling you, I might be sounding like talking in the air, but this is how we frame it on a daily basis. Okay, so we talk about the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates have been spaced out 15 grams in one serving here in, let's say, few biscuits. So if you're going for a meeting, you know that you're going to get late, okay? It's going to be a 3 to 4 hours gap. So what to do? No matter you've just had your breakfast 1 hour before, you can just quickly grab a snack and go for your meeting. You can avoid those spikes in the blood sugar. So your graph of the sugar on a daily basis should not be something like this. It should be a straight line, right? You should not let your sugar spike with certain gaps. If you see the meal gaps that I've given, just 2 to 3 hours of spacings is there. So you should have food every 2 to 3 hours and don't skip your meals, because again, it would spike up your blood sugars. And when we talk about the carbohydrates, these are the 15 grams. I have also doubled it in the major meals, which is the 2 slices of bread, maybe 2 chapatis along with a green veg. If you notice, I have added a lot of fiber in the form of salads and bran chapatis. Bran is husk, which we generally take out of the atta. So we add it here in our food or in our chapatis. We can just stuff it in the chapatis and have, or we can just, make a specific dough out of it, because it's fiber. So we have actually talked about the benefits of fiber. That is how we add small little things in our daily basis, and we divide the carbs, proteins and fats on a daily basis. But I cannot rip a pad of paper and say that this is a diabetic diet for anybody who has diabetes. Diabetic diet should be very, very personalized as per the person's preferences, as per his metabolic goals, and of course his routine, lifestyle, and the comorbidities which come along with diabetes. One thing I wanted to show, and I'm generally questioned about in all my meetings, or I would say on an everyday meeting with a diabetic patient, is how much is 1 cup? How much is half cup? How much is 1 cup dal? And how much is 1 serving of chicken? How much chicken should I eat? See, I'll just show you, I've got small props here. This is about a serving of a fruit. This is the size of a cricket ball, right? This is a medium-sized fruit when we talk about the 15-gram carbohydrates. When we talk about a cup size, 1 cup of dal is something that should be this much. We get these cups in the market which are called the standard serving sizes, but it should be ideally the the size of your 4 fingers, I would say. So if you're going out in a restaurant or somewhere and you want to see how much my 1 cup serving should be, it should be approximately this much. Half making it, of course, equal to 2 of them. And, sorry, I forgot to change the slide here. If we see the serving of a meat, it should be roughly the size of your palm, a deck of cards, or let's say a computer mouse. So that is what is 3-ounce serving of meat, which is approximately 30 grams of protein. A chicken breast, I'm talking about the lowest fat which is there in chicken breast. So as we all know that timely medication, proper lifestyle, healthy diet, and exercise, they all go hand in hand in actually having a good metabolic control, or I would say best glycemic control. Thank you.